Good morning, everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First of all, we need to add Member Garcia as a physical member of this meeting. So can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And next I need to move to add Member Dessart virtually and illness, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and can I have a motion to add Member Dessart?
So moved.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. All right, so call to order. Now we can have a roll call.
Chaplin,
Here.
Dessart,
Here.
Hart, Garcia,
Here.
Ozak,
Here.
Tornatori,
Here.
and Zed.
Okay. Right, next, any public comment? No, all right. Okay, I move to approve the minutes of our meeting of Tuesday, May 17th, 2022.
Second.
Okay. Any comments, questions about the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, I move to accept payment of claims, public works and facilities management.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 7, I move for approval of FMP 019022, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Tri-Dim Filter Corporation to furnish and deliver high-efficiency particle air HEPA 99.97% filters for JTK Administration Building for facilities management for a total contract amount not to exceed $65,073.75
Second.
per lowest responsible bid. Any comments or questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just had a quick question. Thank you. Is this an ARPA item? Because it seems like it would be an ARPA item, but it is not listed that way.
So we've had to buy these for perpetuity since we've had the building. So it's one of those, it's not a new or increased improvement for air quality. Yes, it's related to air quality, but it's part of our normal operation. So it's really in that more the grayish area. So we did not move forward because we bought these with asbestos in this building. We absolutely need these, and we've always needed them for the past 30 years.
Okay, so
Thank
this
you.
is really replacement item versus.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have information about our FY21 Public Works Audit, and
I can
turn it
start
over to
off
Ollie.
and
You
then
can
I'll.
start, and then we'll move on to.
So the Public Works Committee members, last Friday, I sent around the results of our FY21 audit. With some financial highlights for that. And before I kind of dive into that, I figured I'd turn it over to Stan. He was leading the charge. And we also have Joe Lightcap from Baker Tilly, our independent auditor, who performed it. So Stan, I don't know if you wanted to kick off, and then I can kind of close it at the end.
Sure. So we asked Joe Lightcap from Baker Tilly to kind of go over the audit results, if you will. So what was sent out Friday was the audit report, but also we had the financial report for 2021. So there was a strong operating performance in terms of, if you delve into the details, operating expenses were actually slightly lower in 2021 than 2020, which was a really big accomplishment as we started seeing inflationary pressures in 2021. In terms of financial metrics, our balance sheet is strong. We are intentionally building up cash reserves because of the capital improvement plan. So we're going to start to draw down in the next few years because of some of the big projects that we've been fortunate enough to start and will be starting, such as the Nordic plant and the electrical infrastructure project, and more to come. So thanks to the work of this committee, we are in good position to take on those projects into future years. So with that, I'll turn it over to Joe.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me this morning. And I guess as first off, I want to thank Stan and his team for their readiness and responsiveness I say this every year, and it's true every year, and they're great to work with. We ask for a lot of information. They're always ready on our arrival. The records are always in great shape. So thank you, Stan, and your team. I'll go over a little bit on the 21 financial statements, not really get into the numbers. Just that, we issued a clean or unmodified opinion on the system's financial information. Again, this year is the highest level of assurance you can receive from your independent auditors, and states that the information is reasonable in all material respects and can be reasonably relied upon by an outside user of the financial statements. So exactly the opinion you want to see every year. For the fiscal 21 audit, there were no new accounting standards that impacted the system's financial statements. So if we were to compare this to last year, it would look the same in content and form, while the numbers obviously would fluctuate. As Stan mentioned, the financial condition, I do always like to point out, I direct you in the financial statements to the management's discussion and analysis. It starts on page 3 right after our opinion. And it's a great spot to see what happened during the year compared to the prior year. It does a great job explaining the fluctuations and the why things happened compared to last year. It's only a handful of pages, and it's a great spot to see how the system is doing. We also issue a reporting and insights letter from the 2021 audit that satisfies a few different audit standards. And it's very much a boilerplate letter, which is great. There's things that we would have to disclose if some issues occurred, and as the audit was very clean and the records were very clean, I'm happy to report there's no real issues to note. It does address a few other standard things that were required to communicate to the committee and to the county. It addresses our responsibilities as auditors, management's responsibilities, that there were no significant changes to the audit plan. It discusses some of our areas of focus, our thoughts on any significant risks of material misstatement with our audit, which I'd like to point out that the 2 items issued in that part of the report on page 5 are standard areas that the audit standards say you have to consider significant risks of material misstatement. So they're not unique to the system. They're areas that we look at in every single one of our audits, and there were no issues arising from our procedures related around those areas. Some key areas of emphasis, so the different audit areas that we look at, and again, the audit went smoothly and there were no real areas of concern. I always like to point out on page 2 of that report, the reporting and insights letter is my contact information. Should you ever have any questions throughout the year or after this meeting, if you want to reach out to me, my email and my phone number are there. Happy to talk to anyone on the committee about any part of our audit or address any concerns or just talk you through anything you'd like to know more about. Page 23, which is towards the end of the report, has a few bullet points, for kind of to bring up some topics of interest. We do consider this our communication for next year's audit, so it does spur some questions. If you have anything for next audit, please feel free to reach out to me. This report also discusses internal controls. So we look at internal controls to plan the nature, timing, and extent of our procedures, not to provide an opinion on internal controls, but if some areas were of note that we felt the committee should know about, we would raise them in this portion of the letter. I'm happy to report again that there are no internal control comments listed in this report. This has been the case for the past few years. The system, when we first became the auditors for the system, there were a few comments that we talked about, and they were all implemented very quickly as it was able to do so with the employees in the system. I guess with that, it's kind of my very high level summary of how the audit went. Happy to answer any questions or dig in anywhere else that the committee feels appropriate.
If maybe I could offer a couple highlights for it that might be pertinent for discussion. As Stan said, and as Joe said, very pleased with the outcome of the audit. Financially, we're in a great position as a department. Couple highlights: total net position for the department increased from 99.4 million to 106.2 million from 20 to 21, which is great. Our total liabilities decreased decreased from 22.2 million in 2020 to 20.5 million in 21. So our liabilities went down and our net position went up. Unrestricted cash reserves went up from 13.9 million in 2020 to 15.8 million. And our total cash and cash equivalents also went up from 15.7 to 17.7. And those rises there are actually per plan for our long-term capital improvement that we've got, as Stan said, that we have on the books, what we've got planned. We have some big projects coming up, and this was absolutely per plan, which is great. And most important, all of our required debt service coverage ratios and requirements have been met or exceeded. We are one of the few public works agencies in the country to have one of the highest bond ratings. I mean, it's very hard for a public works agency to achieve that, and we have achieved that and maintained it, and we're very proud of that. From a pressure standpoint, we talked about it a little bit in JPS. We are starting to see pressures for inflation. We've seen them a lot, and actually they're hitting the construction departments hardest of all, stormwater, facilities management, and DOT. We're the first ones to see them, and they're most pronounced in what our operations. But that being said, timing wise, it's actually pretty good. At the same time, Stan and his team and Sean and I are working with an outside consultant for a rate study. And once we have that completed, we will meet with Chair Ozog to go over those results, and then ultimately to this committee for confirmation. We're still probably about a month or two away from moving that forward, but all of that's being incorporated into our rate study that we're looking at right now. With that, very happy, you've got all of us here. Any questions the committee may have, but we're very comfortable in the position where we're at. And following today, we would ask today's basically placed on file, and then it would be rolled into the overall county audit for 2021 as part of the main audit that Baker Tilly does perform for the general fund, and then that will be posted as required by law.
I just want to know if I can get a copy of it as I'm not on the committee normally.
I will send it to you. Absolutely. I'll send you the same email I sent the committee members last week that has all of the highlights.
Thank you so much.
Member Chapman.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Nick. So in the rate study, is that for stormwater and water service?
That is for wastewater and water.
Wastewater.
So
water,
it's
wastewater,
only
yeah.
the Public Works Department.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with stormwater.
Okay.
So it's just every 4 years, we are required by law to
Yep.
look at our rates, and this is the 4-year cycle.
Right, good. And I know there may be, because we increased a little bit
And
not
that's,
too long ago.
and that has
but
been the
we have to keep up with
philosophy.
it.
Absolutely. That's been the philosophy of the Public Works Department. Instead of doing, a big 9, 10, 12% increase, we try to do smaller ones
Yeah.
to make it more digestible by the residents out there. And I can tell you that seeing the rate increases I'm seeing out there among other utilities, we will likely be in the increased situation as well. Given what we're seeing in fuel and commodities, there's going to be no way around it to even stay even. And so we're trying to figure out how to mitigate it as best we can for obviously our users out there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciated your use of the word boilerplate when it's in a good way. But thank you so much, and thank you to our team. As good of news as we can look for right now, and really appreciate it. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'll move to place this on file, and can I have a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I place it, the audit on file. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Joe.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, any old business? Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, do we have any idea when we might have a plan worked out for the water loans
Yeah.
or the water grants?
We actually had we had it worked out for this meeting, but Westmont actually added a little bit of a curve to us last Friday, so we pulled it up to digest it. Our plan is to have it on the next meeting.
Great.
So, because Westmont, because we had a meeting with them, was it Thursday or Friday morning? But they're considering adding internal plumbing to the project because there's some changes. So we've got to work that out with Westmont, and because of that, they have delayed the night meeting, asked that it's delayed, and we actually concur
Okay,
about when we're doing it. So we need to work out the details of that SSA,
okay,
how they're going to run it, because we don't want to bring forward a project for your consideration or a funding without knowing that full project.
okay, great, thank you.
And so that will be at our next public works.
We're hoping if we can work out the details with Westmont, absolutely.
Okay.
And we had it written up to bring here, but that kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop that we've got to figure out how to digest.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or any other old business? Any new business?
So I just wanted to let the committee know, and I brought it up a little bit in JPS. To Member Dessart had some great questions in JPS. The committee can expect a fairly large extra on our next Public Works meeting from Stewart Spreading. That is solely and totally due to the increases we've seen in gas prices. And I'm guessing we're going to see a lot more of those because Stewart Spreading, that's our contractor that takes our solids and land applies it pretty far out west. They truck it out there and apply it on farm fields. And the vast majority of their cost is transportation. And so we're seeing a lot of our vendors rumbling, and Stewart was the first one to really do it. But I have a feeling, unless if there's some relief on the pumps out there, that we're going to see more and more of these, that vendors will walk from contracts unless if we do an adjustment. So Stewart's the first one. And I think, Sean, if I remember, it's in the neighborhood of a little bit over $100,000 for
a year for the worst case.
Yeah, it's a 4-year contract. So we're having to deal with that, and you're going to see a lot of those.
Did you say 100 per year or 4 years?
It's $40,000 per year. So that
Okay.
contract goes through 2024. So we're going to bring it through the end of that contract. So in total, it would be a little over $100,000 increase in the contract.
And how that extra is working and how we're trying to do it, it's based upon tiers of gas pricing.
Yeah.
So if the gas prices come down, we don't spend it. If the gas prices go up, it will cost us more. So it's a tier, from 5 to 6, it's this, from 6 to 7, it's that. And then, so we're hoping to safeguard her, but it's just something that this committee and all the board members should realize you will see more of, especially in all of the construction departments. It's everything we do from hauling, trench backfill to asphalt, the trucks. It's just going to be more and more, and it's going to be more pronounced in the 4 construction departments.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all the good news I got. Sorry.
Okay, hearing no more new business, I move to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Member Dessart. Okay,